a year ago and it went out of print. Thrice Greatest Hermes by G.R.S. Mead. 3 volumes set in 1 volume. They put 3 volumes for $50. But the book you can get is Anna Kingsford and Maitland's Version of the World, out of print. Okay, let's do some other cross references. If you can't get Version of the World, let's see here. What? That's one, but what we're dealing with here, I'm going to deal with some other stuff. I'm going to give you another one. Another book, I'll give you another one that you need to buy. You need to get us some Hermetic. There's a book called Hermetica by Walter Scott. Hermetica by Walter Scott. Those are the straight scripts. But I'm going to give you some other cross references. Now let's go into a bit of history here and understand what went down. Number one, the Kabbalah was in the Egyptian mystery system. I Ching system that you see in Asia, they studied it right in Egypt. Alchemy, which means Al-Kim, which means the black land or the black people, is in Egypt. The Christ concept or the Christos concept was in Egypt. Every discipline that you have and stuff, your Sufi masters of the Kushite Empire, which goddamn Arabia, excuse the expression, Arabia at one time was nothing but a part of the whole Egyptian dynasty, because there was nothing but black Arabians there, and there's 85% of Arabia right now is black. And they were the ancient Kushite Arabians, which Drusilla Dundee Houston's book talks about the ancient Kushite based on history. But all of your Arabian, and so your Sufi Arabs or your Kushite Arabs are the mystic Arabs. And Muhammad's father was a Kushite Arab. And so the real deal is Muhammad didn't get nothing revealed no more than his damn daddy knew and all the other black people that was on the damn in Arabia before him. There's evidence of that right now. How the hell he going to be revealed the Quran, and the Sufis had all of that particular stuff. So what we're trying to say is that the Arab want you to believe that all their stuff came in history based on a squabble with them. But in actuality, all they did is went and took ancient black people stuff that was already there. Because like I told you before, Muhammad could not read or write. He was illiterate till the day he died. And Bilal is the one that wrote the doggone Quran. And Bilal was an Ethiopian Kushite Arab from Arabia. So what we're saying is we talk about every knowledge came out of one system, the black African. And that's the whole deal. So the Greeks started ruling in the Ptolemaic period. They went down the Nile and took all the temples and took all the doggone books out of the temples and put in the Library of Alexandria. And they built this Library of Alexandria. Egyptian people built this Library of Alexandria, and it was the first high-rise. And the high-rise that they had there, which was a high-rise that looked like a building downtown. And they took that, and the man took those blueprints and built his first doggone skyscrapers from. So we built the first high-rise, and the Egyptian priests did. So now, they took all the books and put in the Library of Alexandria. And then the Greeks had reigned. They came in and literally had all these papyrus rolls, and it was thousands of them. And they carted them off to Greece. And what it is they have some stuff called the Hermetic text. And the Hermetic text is the mystery of alchemy and the metaphysical workings of becoming Christ, Christ, which is Greek Christos, anointed one, because the original Greeks were black also too. So when they translated into Greece, it was black people that translated that into Greek. The particular Hermetic text, because there wasn't just no book. See, we can't look at modern looking back into history. We got to somehow look at history was, because when we think, like you see the Quran is the book of Islam, the Bible is the book of this, the Torah is the book of that. They didn't have no one book in Egypt. They had millions of books, and the Book of the Dead is just a pyramid text, but it is one of millions of books. So the Hermetic text, which is the science of becoming God, and the devil said we got to destroy these people because they're getting past me when we go into this. So the Hermetic text was the science of becoming gods, where they dealt with alchemy. Now, one of the best books, or out-of-print book on alchemy that came out in 1980, and I just so happen to have the book, is back out now. It used to be called the guy name is Kenneth Rayner Johnson. And the name of the book used to be called The Fulcanelli Phenomenon, the one from 1980. The new book now is under a new title, and it's called The Immortal. Fulcanelli was working around with some alchemy. And the people, since the Moors introduced alchemy up into Europe, they produced alchemy into Europe because alchemy, somehow they was trying to make this boy into a higher spiritual being. They was trying to give him a soul, or trying to raise what spirit he did have. They couldn't give him a soul, so they tried to raise what spirit he does have. There's a spirit, there's a difference between a spirit and a doggone soul. Now, in Spain, they gave them all this particular alchemical studies and stuff. And you had the guy Alberta Magnus and all these particular people in alchemy that were studying this. So when you go see Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, that's what they was dealing with alchemy. When they are dealing with alchemy, and alchemy is what they did on the original Yakub thing. So now, the key is Yakub was in the junior high school, and he could only make the body and put life into it, but he couldn't make a soul. It's a difference between spirit and a soul. Animals have spirits. You see what I'm saying? But the soul that we're talking about, the soul of God, comes from the original God plane or the Godhead. So Fulcanelli it broke some of these particular secrets in the 70s on alchemy in the star system Sirius, using the Quran and using using the Bible, the Quran, and ancient Egyptian mysteries. And he also studied Aleister Crowley. And he broke a certain amount of secrets. So what happened was the government, the CIA and the government of America got after him because they wanted to get these mysteries. This was before they really started making melatonin. And so he disappeared. And they never saw him again. But anyway, the guy Kenneth Rayner Johnson wrote the book The Fulcanelli Phenomenon in 1980, and he somehow received some of Fulcanelli's papers, if not all of them. So the book is called The Immortal now, and it's in print again. It's not so by the guy Kenneth Rayner Johnson is the name of the book, and it's a book on alchemy, and it's dealing with those particular disciplines. So the Hermetic text went to Greek. At the same time, the Egyptian priests said, hey, the world is becoming a place where they don't have priesthoods anymore. So what we have to do is we got to break these scriptures, or we got to break this stuff that we had in the mystery system down enough that it can be plain and simple, that you don't have to be in no mystery school. You can just read the text, and if you got a good teacher, you can learn this stuff. So out of the Library of Alexandria, a group of Egyptians also along the Nile Valley called the Coptic race, or they spoke Coptic, and these group of preachers, let's say each priest took a part of Egypt, a part of Arabia, part of Mesopotamia, a part of different places, and they went to certain parts. So each priest, they had 80,000 priests that came out of the temple of Karnak alone. So each priest went to a certain part of the whole Mediterranean. And they started breaking this particular stuff down, and they call it Gnosticism, which means gnosis. And gnosis means knowing or knowledge. And they started breaking this stuff down that it took 40 years for the priest to get. They started breaking this stuff down simplistic. Not because they also wanted to teach the people that was living back then, but they know they had to break it down simplistically so we could get it now. Because they were prophesizing us sitting in this room right now and any other doggone meeting that you ever went to in knowledge, since you've been in the knowledge. If this is your first time, welcome to the mystery school. They foresaw all of this because they can prophesy into the future. You know they could because they can accurately tell you things that went down in the apocalypse, which came from Persia, the Persians got it from Egypt, because the real writer of the book of Revelation is Maya. Now, hell, you can look in that book of the dead and they say, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, hey, Ruth. Right in there. You see what I'm saying? But so now, they could foresee things now, so they wrote it actually for us now. Now, it was called Gnosticism. So the Greeks got some of these Gnostic texts. And the Greeks later on were conquered by Rome. Rome came in and burnt down the damn Library of Alexandria because the Romans wasn't good for one thing, killing people. That was their biggest thing, killing people. you see. But they had inherited all of the papyruses the Greeks had smuggled out of Egypt. And these Gnostic papyruses are Gnosticism. Now, what happened was this. The Jews who had gotten their stuff from Akhenaten and was studying the Kabbalah was running stuff in that area. And the only thing the Romans was doing was persecuting these black people. But the Romans said, well, hell, we got a little bull jive, Romulus and Remus, of us being suckered with wolves, and it ain't working. We need to get some of their stuff and make it ours. They say, but wait a minute. We already got some of their stuff. The Greeks had smuggled some of their stuff out of Egypt because the Egyptians, the Jews, and all of them was one race of people. You see what I'm saying? They said, we got some of this. We got a whole library of these Gnostic texts that was translated into Greece from Egypt. And in there they say the Messiah that they got was a Greek Messiah called Jesus, where you get the word J for Jupiter and Zeus, father of the god, Jesus, or Jesus, same as what you call it, which is Jesus, which was around before, which is Jehu or Heru in Egypt, where you get the word Jerusalem. So they said, we got some of this particular stuff, and this is what we need to do. They got all of this material. They had the Gnostic people that was there at the particular time that was living there, which is these Gnostic priests, knew that these particular, what they were getting ready to do. So the Romans took this particular information. They say, hey, the Christ that they're talking about is in all cultures, and this is a Christ that is supposed to come. It's supposed to be a race of black people at the end times, which is us. But what we need to do is we need to take these scripts and we need to make everything historicalized. So what they did is all the Jesus stuff that was mystical and metaphysical, they literally came in and went into the scriptures and made it history. That's the reality of it. They made it historicalized. And what they did was this. They made a whole new book from original book. Now, the original book is the Gnostic scriptures that came from the Hermetic scriptures, which is Egyptian, which all of that was Egyptian priests. So it don't matter what came from what. It was the Egyptian priests. Gnosticism is Egyptian. Kabbalistic is Egyptian, or what they say, Cam, which means black. All of that was the same discipline. You see what I'm saying? It's the same discipline. This is a Hermetic book. The book, The Art of Hermes, book 3 of the Golden Dawn series. This is the stuff that these people in Europe acquired when they went up into Egypt after Napoleon. They say that Hermeticism tradition focused upon what Western occultism of the past 5 centuries is based on. The Hermetic magic of Hermes Trismegistus, which is the god Tahuti. Hermes is the Greek word for Tahuti, which is god of wisdom. In the past 5 centuries, they're saying that all European shit is based on this. This is what they say right here. Let's read it again. The Hermetic tradition is the art of Hermes focused upon what Western occultism for the past 5 centuries is based upon. The Hermetic magic of Hermes Trismegistus was the god of wisdom, is the Greco-Egyptian philosophers during the early centuries of Christianity. He links with alchemy, medicine, magic, and all mysteries. All secret schools and orders in the West that claim occult tradition such as Freemasonry are loosely linked to Hermes. This volume contributes to the writer's accomplishment of the ceremonial magic treatise of the course of Hermetic tradition of ancient Egypt. The Greek philosophy, the Greek mystery religion, Gnosticism, Neoplatonism, and Kabbalah, down to the modern age, comes from Hermetics. This is one called the Golden Dawn Journal, Book 3, Art of Hermes. You see, there's the Art of Hermes, which is Tahuti, god of wisdom, Thoth, or Tahuti. Now, the key is this. And the name of, and this book is edited by, they got one on the Kabbalah, or this Golden Dawn series. It's by Chick, Schicero. What's that? Chick Curcio, or whatever the hell that is. And Sandra Tabitha Cicero. You know, hell with that. Golden Dawn occult philosophy. So now, from that became this Gnosticism. Now, let me show you this scope. You ever see a movie where a person got an invention? Other person steal his shit and claim it for his own. Change the shit around so he can manipulate the people. You see, the stuff is meant to elevate humanity. They change the stuff around so that they can make the humanity be slaves by worshiping. Then, in order to keep the stuff afloat, these people that stole your invention, they kill you. The Gnosticism group of people, after the Romans came in and took all the Gnostic scripts and wrote the first 4 Gospels. Just so happened today, we are lucky people today, because I'm going to tell you why in a few minutes. So you're saying, well, that's a long time ago. How can we ever get to the real shit? They wrote the first 4 Gospels and historicalized the Gnosticism, which was totally opposite. One was meant to raise you up, this one is, and the other one is meant for you to damn be moralistic and feel guilty for being born. And so they historicalized this particular stuff. These particular so-called first Christians went all over the Mediterranean, Africa, and Egypt, and killed everybody who was in Gnosticism to make their shit real, because they were Romans. Masters in the order of what? Killing. You see what I'm saying? And they went all over and they killed these people off. So Christianity is based on the murder of an original people, the Gnostics that had the real stuff, and then they took a fake book and made a fake book out of it, which is in fragments, and they killed off the rest of the people. Now, why did they have to kill off the rest of the people? First of all, let me explain something. Let me go into the mystery of Gnosticism. In Gnosticism, now the book that you're going to get, they got 2 scriptures back there. She can order some more, but now we don't even have to go and even decipher what is even in the Bible. Why? Because we don't have a million years to damn put together no damn jigsaw puzzle. Once you read this, you can somehow recall in the scriptures what you have already learned about the Bible, and then it can make that stuff clear, and you can see clearly where they got it from. You already know the damn Bible. Basically, you know what I'm saying? We learn scriptures just off the damn street. Never read the Bible, just, you know, the Bible say this, the Bible say that. Now, what you need is the complete Gnostic scriptures. The one that you want to get, there's several Gnostic books. This one is called the Gnostic Scriptures, a new wisdom for ancient wisdom for a new age by Bentley Layton. This is the new one. This is the 95 one. The other one was called the Nag Hammadi Scriptures by James Robinson. That's the one that came out in 1977. These and Bentley Layton worked on the other one, so he has an updated version where he breaks it all down. Now let me explain this to you, because we got even new insights on the Adalabra. Now, let's read something. Let me see, I think I got it over here. Hold on 1 minute. Let me find this book for you right now. Bentley Layton. There's 2. Hold on. Let me see, did I bring it? I know I brought it. Wait a minute. Hold on, I had another book down here that I wanted to read something. Here it is. This book is called Hermetic Magic. This book is by Stephen Edward Flowers, Ph.D., and it was based off of a papyrus that they got out of Greece. And it's got all this magic up in here based on this ancient papyrus. The ancient papyrus, Hermetic magic. Now, in Hermetic magic, on page 27, I want to start this off because we're going to explain what the devil is. The Gnostic sects hold that the material world is ruled by an evil force, and mostly say that the material world is actually a creation of the evil demiurge. Surprisingly enough, the Gnostics' thinking is applied to the Judeo-Semitic Genesis because it is the original Genesis. And Genesis means what? Genes of Isis. Gnosis means Genoisis. Gnosis. What is Gnosis? Let me spell this right. If you look, Gnosis, G-N-O-I-S-I, gene of Isis. You see how it's broken in? Genes of Isis, Genesis, genes of Isis, Gnosis, G-N-O-I-S, genes of Isis. You see what I'm saying? Or Sophia, genes of Isis. Now, that's what Genesis means. You see what I'm saying? Now, so the Genesis come from Gnosis. So this is the original script. Now, it says that the Judeo-Semitic myth of Genesis, understanding completely contrary to the conventional interpretation of the images. In the Gnostic mind, Yahweh, Elohim of Genesis, is identified as the demiurge and the creator of this world, who is the evil one. Yahweh is also called Adal-Labroth. Some people say Adal-Labath. I say Adal-Labath because a brother I say, well, hell, it's I-A-D-A-B-A-O-T-H. So I said, damn, Adal-Labath. I said, the brother said Adal-Labath. And that's what came out of the brother's mouth. And I said, that sound. I said, that's it. Adal-Labath. Yahweh is also called Adal-Labath. Many Gnostic sects says the created world and the natural parts of humanity, this is what it says. Adal-Labath created the world and natural parts of humanity, but tried to keep humankind in slavery and darkness from the transcendent light. You see what I'm saying? Slavery of and they say the savior of humanity is the serpent, who is the bringer of light beyond the cosmos. So that's what you get, the serpent in the tree of light. Now, I just wanted to give you that because, see, what happened is this. This particular Adal-Labath, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm going to bring this thing back. He came in, he comes about every time the black man and woman start taking enough people and raising them to get them to a high level. He comes in and he messes with the scripture by taking a certain amount of people in society and manipulating them to do different things and mess up the scriptures. So they say God gave us the truth, but the devil came in and said, let's organize it, and gave us religion. Because that's controlling. So there was a certain thing that was going on, and the Gnostics had made it plain and simple what the Egyptians, the priests, knew. They made it plain and simple for everybody that God that was ruling the earth was the devil. We're going to go into this in a few minutes. And so he came in and manipulated the Romans to come in and kill them all off, and they suppressed the scriptures. But they fucked up because what the man didn't tell you is, in 1945, when they dropped the atomic bomb. They dropped it in 45. The same year, they went to Egypt, and the real scriptures was dug up, called the Nag Hammadi scriptures. And the guy Bentley Layton is one of the translators. So, ever since 1945, the man knew that God was the devil, and let me get into this. And he knew that not only God was the devil, but God was on his side. The God of religion, the God of the Methodists, the God of the Baptists, the God of anything where you got to constantly worship is the devil. Now, let me explain this to you. Let me go into the history of this thing, because there's new insights came out since I introduced it in the spring of the year. This is the new insights. You had the goddess Sophia. And the goddess Sophia had this birth. We're going to go through this again. This birth was halfway created. You had a whole heavenly realm called Sirius, the star system Sirius and all of that. Then the goddess Sophia had this child. So there were gods before this. There were gods in the universe. She had this child. This child was halfway created. It's in the Dogon mystery as Ogu. It's in the Egyptian mysteries as Set Typhon, but there's two kind of sets. There's the first set, the creator of the human race. Let me get this right. The first set. You're going to read Gerald Massey's books. Will give you the first. Gerald Massey's books. Will give you the origin of Set. But let me get this right. Y'all all right? Okay, then it's on tape. So if you don't understand this, we're going to go back. We got to get a little scholarly tonight because we got to explain this thing. I advise you to get this tape and study this tape. Set or Sut. Lit means the black one, or Sut derives from an incalculably ancient name. Set was the primordial god of the Egyptians. No earlier god existed in recorded history of the pre-human race. That's Sut. That's the original Set. The one that the Egyptians talk about is another later Set Typhon, which is the devil. You see what I'm saying? Which is the devil. I don't have time to read. I'll read some other stuff, but let me say. It says that this particular one, while being formed, he called him Set Typhon in Egypt, Ogu, or Dalabroth, or whatever. While he was being formed in his mother's womb, he tore out the side of his mother's womb and jumped forth into the universe. This threw off the balance and the order of the universe. There was something that got screwed up, or as we say, fucked up in the universe a couple of millions of years ago. And the whole earth and everything is being as a result to recorrect this damn thing. This particular person jumped out, and he was not all the way created. And he jumped out the side of his mother's womb. He had a little bit of light within him. But not by him being not created, he was arrogant and ignorant and blind. But by him being so arrogant, he says, "Let it be known, I am a jealous God, and I shall not have no other gods before me." You heard of that one before in the Bible. So does your Bible speak with God that's jealous? Right? "And I shall not have any gods before me." But he was so arrogant and ignorant that he didn't look up and see that there were gods before him, the universal prime creator of the cosmos and the whole Sirius star system, which even the Quran says our God is the one who created both male and female from one single ejaculated semen. He is the God of Sirius. In Egypt, the God of Sirius is Osiris, which is now down here. Explain this. So, to make a long story short, he created 7 planetary archons. That's why when you look into Kabbalah, and I want to get the right one, this is interesting. I want to get the right one and show you. When you look into Kabbalah, you will see the spheres. You will see Saturn. You will see Jupiter. You will see Mars. Why is it that they don't talk about Sirius, Aldebaran? Why is it that they don't talk about? You see Mars. Let me get this right. It ain't gonna come up on the damn tape no way, but I'll point it out. Mars, Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, Luna, Sol, which is the moon, Saturn. Why you got these 1, 2, 3, 4, let's see, the planets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you would have some other planets that they don't have on here, but I guess the moon would take the place of those. 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, the Earth is 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I guess that the 7 would be the moon, but the 7 would be the other ones. But they talk about 7 planetary archons. What he did is the Dalabroth came down and he created 7 physical planets. Each planet had a certain archon or a certain evil evil archon or Satan's helper. When he created them, he did not give them any light. So therefore, he could rule over these particular planets. The first planet was Saturn, and on down like this. We talk about the fall, but we got to connect this thing. He didn't give them no light. Sophia said, man, he created all of them, and he created the earth, which was the final one. Sophia says, I got to recorrect this mess because this person is creating a whole universe. And the universe that he basically created is the one in our solar system. You see what I'm saying? That's the universe of that. That's why they will show you the physical, even when they deal with science, the physical planets that they show you, they usually show you the ones in our solar system. And they'll talk about other planets being formed, but they'll show you stars out there beyond our solar system. But mainly the ones, the physical planets in our solar system is the ones that Adalabroth created. Now listen. Sophia comes to the 7 planetary archons. She says, look, because they were mad at him. They said, this cat is ruling over us because he didn't give us no light. Although he didn't have the supreme light, he had a little light enough that can create the 7 planets. Because the gods, you can create a damn planet. That's what you can do. You can create a whole universe. So I think that, because he didn't have the complete light, he couldn't create stars, but he could create planets based on thought. So the other ones was mad. They say, well, damn, he created us, and so since he didn't give us no light, we are subservient under him. So Sophia comes, and she persuades the other ones to get together and persuade Adalabroth to create an earthly man. So they get together and they persuade Adalabroth to create this earthly man. And she said, now this earthly man that you create, he'll be lower than you all, and therefore you will have somebody that can also be up under you, and so therefore you can have somebody that you can be ruler over, and it won't be so bad for you all. All the while she was shitting them, and she was shitting Adalabroth also too. As a result, when they created the physical man, Adalabroth said, get together and say, let us make man. Because they said, no, now basically they say he created the heavens and the earth. Hell, the heavens just mean anything out of the earth, so it just means the 7 planets. So they were talking about Adalabroth the whole time. So when she gets together, she said, he created this man, but the man could not walk upright. It's not talking about the man. This is the first creation of the physical body. So she gets together and she says, hey, why don't you breathe life into him? And when he breathed the light into him, Adalabroth did, he ended up giving the light that he had, the little bit that he did have, he breathed that into man, and she snooped behind him and gave man the complete original seed that the gods that was above Adalabroth, that was too arrogant to look up and say, I am the God and no, I shall have no God before me. She gave us the primal seed. And once Adalabroth saw what was going on, he got jealous and he got angry. He got angry. And as a result, he said he was going to destroy them. Seeing that he couldn't destroy all of them, what he did was he went and tried to seduce Eve and tried to get her light from her. But Eve, they say, went up into the tree and left a shadow behind. The shadow is called Darth. It's in this particular area, which is the black dot, which is Darth. She left a shadow behind. And when she left the shadow behind, he thought he was getting the doggone light and was always attacking the shadow. The shadow is called melanin. And the melanin attracts the original light. So Adalabroth said, if I see anybody with some light, I'm going to try to kill it. And so at this particular time, that the 7 planetary archons, because they had seen what was going on, they found out that the man on earth that was over them also too, they joined back up with Adalabroth. And as a result, they say, hey, we're going to try to kill everything down there that we see light. So she put the shadow or the veil over in the man and the woman to hide the light. And when she hid the light, after she hid the light, what happened was he couldn't see the light and he was killing the physical body, but basically they went on and started becoming gods. So they built Atlantis and Lemuria. And for millions of years, because the earth is older than what you think it is, they were ruling as gods down here for millions of years because they was physical, but they was on a higher dimension so they could do greater things, disappear, all kinds of things. They could do greater things of what a god could do in the physical body. And so he was mad at that particular time, and he ended up coming down to Atlantis in the final stages after millions of years and sinking it usually by manipulating priests and manipulating a certain amount of people. Now, also while he was in Atlantis, he said, man, this is the deal. We do not have a direct input with the man, so what we got to do is we got to create a counterfeit spirit. And that's when he went to Yakub or these scientists in Egypt or this priesthood in Atlantis, and they created the man so the man could house this evil demiurge or this evil counterfeit spirit that Adalabroth created. Y'all with me? We know this because it's got to be a certain spirit that is in him for him to keep evil up year after year after year after year. There's things that he didn't do in the 1800s that he don't do now, that he did in the 1800s. But if you notice, the racism lasted up to now, and it has become more advanced. You see what I'm saying? That is because it's not that also that he is evil by nature, because he is, but he is evil by nature because the actual energy that houses him is these evil demiurge spirits that is in this counterfeit spirit. And all of this is in this Gnostic stuff. They had to get rid of this shit because this stuff is telling all the stuff. So they had to kill them all off. They had to kill them all off. So then we built up Egypt. And this is where we come into play now. Once they built up Egypt, they came in because the Egyptians had gotten so advanced until they could make alchemy. And this is what it was. In the scriptures, let me get the scriptures for you because I want to deal with some stuff here. Y'all all right? In the scriptures, let me explain this. The Egyptians used to could go ahead and manipulate the force so they can get off the planet and didn't have to come back no more. And what they would do is they could mummify a body, and long as they say that your body can't ascend, not until it's totally decomposed. So you'll be in a catatonic state, you'll be in another dimension, but you'll still be tied to that body until it really decomposed. That's why the people in India would burn the body so the body could reincarnate and come back fast. You see what I'm saying? So they would burn the body. And once the body, they burn it in one day, it can reincarnate, and some of them could come, a priest can come in and snatch a damn body and be back on the earth in a damn hour. You see? And all. So the Egyptians say, but that's a low thing. We don't want to even stick around it because this is the low level that Adalabroth created. This is the jailhouse. So what they would do is they would fool Adalabroth by what they would do is they would embalm the body. And while long as that body was still here, they knew how to transcend the body and go into the other realm, and that body would take the place of it, and they could get past and don't have to reincarnate. What happens is this. Adalabroth has us in slavery, and what he does is this. Once you get out of the prison, he tells you never to kill yourself and never to do all this kind of thing here, and life is precious. He tells you that because that's the jailhouse. And because we born in the jailhouse, we just think that this is precious. Eating. When you really look at it, it's really some savage stuff. You're walking around with a tub of shit in you. You know what I'm saying? This is real shit, you know. I don't give a damn how skin you are. You got some shit in you right now. Otherwise, you would never have to shit. They said that the Kabbalah said that the physical body is the most foul thing. You got to eat, and you're basically on an animal level, but what separates you from the animal is you have a spiritual potential in you. You see what I'm saying? So what Adalabra started doing was coming closer and closer to the earth and putting his grip on the earth till the vibratory rates slowed down. And so the last serious heaven on earth was Egypt. Then he slowed down the vibratory rate, and that fell. Now, this is what he did. We are in, the Gnostic schools is all around the Mediterranean. He did one thing that would be the last thing, in his last major punch that he did. You see, the whole thing about the Romans taking these scripts and writing the first 4 gospels, which is basically a moral doctrine. And anything moral keeps you from going into the spiritual realm. So what moral means is he creates this fear. So anytime we start talking about chakras, kundalini and stuff, you go, that's some devil shit. You see, it's going on to this day. People think this is satanic worship. You understand what I'm saying? And Satan, the Adalabra calls Satan is Osiris, which is actually you. You see. Now let me get into this. Let me get into this particular part. Look at this. He pulled one punch around the same time that they was transforming these scriptures. He says that he created this false Messiah. You see, he could not fake the people because the Messiah that supposed to came was supposed to be a black Jew at that particular time, because all the black Jewish community was looking for the Messiah. And the Jews was nothing but the northern Ethiopians that was in Palestine and all over in Ethiopia and all over the Mediterranean, in Egypt, as well as the Egyptians that was looking for the Messiah, as well as all the black people around the world, the Sumerians, the people from Persia, all those was black people now. You see what I'm saying? And they were looking, the Arabians, they were looking for the Mahdi, everybody looking for the Messiah. So now, but they were looking for a Messiah that was going to come in the end times, which is now, because they were masters of prophecy, so they knew it wasn't coming no 2,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So, in order to get the people's mind off of looking for a later one or preparing for now, Adalabra had to break it. He had first broke it by, well, he didn't break it yet, but this is what he did. First of all, in order to break it, he did one thing. Now look at this. And it's interesting here, because this has been suppressed up until now. This is in Isis Unveiled, Book 2, page 471, or you can get this book, H.P. Blavatsky on the Gnostics. Madame Blavatsky first claimed that the Gnostics was the precursors of occult movement, and it says, in the program to divide scriptures, learning that the esoteric and esoteric truths of religion, the Gnostics were obviously in opposition to so-called Christianity. And it says, now, and what it means is this here, that they were the precursors to all that, which means that a precursor means it was the real shit, and these people killed them off and took a fake thing. You with me? Now, this is what they did. The false Messiah shall say, I am Deus, son of Deus, my father sent me here. Now, this is what Blavatsky says. Hence, the belief of some Gnostics. See, this is why they had to kill the Gnostic people off. The Gnostics knew what happened. The Gnostics said that Hibel Awaza, the archangel Gabriel, who was sent to overshadow Mary, was not the archangel Gabriel, but Adalabra, who came in the form of a material body of Jesus, the Christos himself, which is at the modern moment of the baptism of Jordan. What she's saying here is this. She's saying that they had a physical person that walked the earth to make the scriptures historical, telling people that he was the Messiah, and that was none other than Adalabra came down here and came in and materialized a physical body and walked the earth as a physical man, saying he was the Jesus. And meanwhile, the Romans historicalized all the stuff, and they threw off all of the stuff of a Jesus now. Because any fool knows that you read any ancient scripts, what is the doggone purpose for a doggone Christ to come that's supposed to redeem the people since the beginning of Atlantis, that was supposed to come to earth and then get killed? That don't make no damn sense. And leave the people down here to suffer for another 2,000 years. You see what I'm saying? So obviously, that person couldn't have walked the earth that was saying that he was the Christ or whatever kind of thing. It was a Adalabroth. You see. Now, they said that, but Adalabroth was the false Messiah and the destroyer of all ancient religions or all ancient mystery schools. So what you got here is, they came in and they wrote a book for this particular person out of the same scriptures. That's why you can go and get the same scriptures. The Greeks talked about a God, Jesus, that was supposed to come in the ancient time, which is in all of us. The Egyptians talked to God, Heru, which is a modified word, which is an earlier word of Jesus. And all around the world, it was talking about one that was supposed to come then. But what this Adalabroth did, he came in and made a physical person to come in and get these people all stirred up in the Holy Land, and then after he so-called died, because he had to die, then they came in because they had to make a martyr, just like the Tupac thing. Anytime you die, they make a martyr. Then he came, then the stage was set for them to come in and take ancient scriptures of the sayings of Jesus, because, see, we would know that this wouldn't be fake, but, see, the thing about it is the first 4 books that they talk about, that's the sayings of Jesus. The problem is we know it's a lie now, because in 1945, they dug up the original scriptures in 1945. It's just that the damn governments around the world made sure that most people didn't know, and they didn't even translate the first books until 1977. They translated part of it. They translated a great deal of it in in the late 1950s, and the guy Hans Jonas' book came out, The Gnostic Religion. The other ones, as far as the complete scriptures, wasn't translated until 1977. So we have no way of knowing that this particular God is fake. You see what I'm saying? Now, let me go into some things here and try to understand some stuff. So Rome basically took all these ancient texts and historicalized them and made them history. They got it because they was copying a part of the Jews that went bad, taking Egyptian texts and making them historical. You see what I'm saying? Making them historical. A lot of that stuff in the Bible and even in the Torah did not happen. It was metaphysical, and a lot of it, if it was supposed to happen on the earth, it's supposed to happen now. You see what I'm saying? Y'all getting me here? This is very important stuff here, because you got to understand some stuff, because I'm explaining something to you. Let me explain something to you about Adalabroth. Yeah, you can cut the light on. Let me explain something to you about Adalabroth. Y'all all right? Because you got to get this. Because what he did was, let me get a glossary here. So now what they do now, they put out the books now, but they parallel it with them. They parallel them with Christian things and saying that they went hand in hand, and one was an extension of the other. That's a lie. That's a lie. Let me explain. Adalabroth is the origins of the name is uncertain. One of the most common names of Gnostic mythology. Adalabroth is a god who rules the material world. Who rules the material world. So, Adalabroth not only was ruling the material world, but how he kept throwing us off. He said, well, listen, in order for me to get these particular gods to keep them going within, I have to create passions. So he created what you call beauty. And in beauty, all the creation of jewelry, all the creation of things, material things that keep you from going. You see, before then, we used to understand that we were gods, and we were just like any other thing on the earth. We could sustain ourselves and go to the highest level of spirituality because we understood that we were gods, or the knowledge of self. So what he did to throw us off, they created all kinds of material things. And so that's why you didn't see as much material things in the ancient world. They didn't need those things because they were on a higher vibration. Now what he did was, after the Adalabras last thing is when he got the Romans and start killing people, Adalabras knew hell. He said, I got these people who would control the earth now, because the black people used to control the earth, but they were spiritual beings. But the people who can control the earth now, I can directly send my evil archons. So each one of these 7 planetary archons, they created other spirits, counterfeit spirits. And those are the ones that's inside of this particular beast. So as a result of them being in this particular beast, they can control the world. And basically, what does he do? The man controls the world by making the material beautiful. He's 100% materialistic. So as a result, for the last 1,000 years, well, we can't say 1,000 years because Greece and Rome was built by black people and it was all spiritual purposes. But let's say from down Europe on up, so we'll basically say that his height of his beauty, we could say the last 700-800 years. And this is the magnitude of it, America, which is the home of commercialism. The man's goal is to create beautiful and create a system that would make the earth look like heaven to trap you in it. That's why now we can't think of but one thing: getting more riches. You see what I'm saying? I don't cut this off right. Getting more riches. So I don't tell you to not make no money. I just tell you to make money to pay rent, pay lights, pay water, and keep some gas or whatever for transportation so you can get to the job, to pay rent, to pay light or water. But any other shit, you see what I'm saying? You see? So when I beg for money to pay my rent and stuff, you see what I'm saying? Which I don't think I'm going to make it. But anyway, what I'm saying is, we talk about the bare necessities. So he created beauty and passions to control people. You understand what I'm saying? But he's arrogant. He's so arrogant and so now, when he created the man, in actuality, the man, you say, well, how does this God function? You just look at the man and see how the man functions, and you can understand how this God functions. He's a jealous God. He's a vengeful and a wrath and brimstone, a killer God. You understand what I'm saying? And everything that functions, that holds this society, so when the man writes on his dollar bill, "In God we trust," he's talking about his God. He actually has a real God. Now, this is this. Now, we got to stop for a minute because I want you to think about what I'm saying here. This God came in and this God created. He took all around the world. He took what is called the esoteric scriptures are saying that you are gods and you belong to the host of heavens or the host of stars of heaven, and we are all one. And which scriptures, and he took the same scripture. Now what he would do is he would take the same scriptures and he would take the same scriptures and he would take the esoteric scriptures and make them exoteric where you worship him. In the Gnostic scriptures, the real scriptures, they say that this God made a covenant with Abraham, this God Yahweh. And he made a covenant with Abraham and promised this little group or whatever that he would save them, and everybody else would go to hell or whatever type thing, if they can somehow make the scriptures as if they got to abide by laws, obey laws and all this particular stuff. You understand what I'm saying? To hold us down and hold us down in humanity. So now what I'm trying to say is this too. Then in 1945, they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and all that. They went into Egypt and they dug up the original scripts. That means you got some scripts of the first 4 Gospels that the Romans and all the Christians are saying that was taught, that all the Christians that were saying that was taught when Jesus walked the earth 2,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? When Jesus walked the earth 2,000 years ago. And in 1945, they dug up some scriptures in Egypt that talks about the same damn sayings, and it shows that one saying that was supposed to be a person of 2,000 years ago came from an older saying of the Gnostic scripts that came out of the Hermetic scripts that came out of Egypt. You understand what I'm saying? And the other one was all fake, and they suppressed the damn thing up until 1977. Now, in this book, The Secret Books of the Egyptian Gnostics by Jean Duress, is a real good one. It was 14, it might be 15 now. And it deals with this, and it goes into Adalabroth on page 27 up in here. And not only that, he got 7 archangels that created, he got a whole host of angels now. So now, with black people recently, you started having these walk-ins. Now this is the most interesting thing, because I went to Philadelphia 2 weeks ago, about a month ago, and everywhere I go, if the brother's in the consciousness, they walk into the sister and she starts going crazy. And if the sister's in consciousness, they walk into the brother and he starts going crazy. They always start opposing which one if you and your mate didn't meet and is into this thing at the same time. It's very rare that you get two people that's in a household that's in the same thing. Although you do have a lot of them, but mainly what you will have is recently, since 1990 on up, because this knowledge has started coming, you started having these walk-ins. And it's funny, when I went there, the people were so concerned because they was going crazy. And a lot of the things is this. This Adalabroth, who is a jealous God, sits over religiosity. And he is the person that sits over these churches. So now when you go in and start dancing and singing and doing all this kind of stuff here, you open up that, and his evil demiurge is the one that's possessing them, because, God damn it, if you ever see some holy, sanctified people, anybody in the church, you talking about irrationale. You understand what I'm saying? And I know this is for a fact. Now, I love it and all this, but see, the reason why I know this, I'm doing a case study. I got an aunt, ultimate intellectual, would bear witness to all of this and everything a few years ago. A few years ago, when I came home, I remember when Farrakhan first started back. Remember when he first started up in there? I came home pumping that stuff. They was into it. Oh, man, look at this. I told them, this is before the book, because the book was out of print for a while. Destruction of Black Civilization was out of print in the early 80s, and it came back out in the late 80s. We was trying to get that book and said, God, she said, I'm going to the Library of Congress and try to Xerox a copy. That's how much she in do the stuff. In 92 or 93, she came and went and somehow got in the church, and all of a sudden, this person is a whole other person. Irrational, don't want to hear nothing, scared, get quiet, just crazy. You see what I'm saying? Just crazy. You see what I'm saying? And this is what they talk about, like you say, the Ruth Montgomery thing, talking about strangers among us. There is an energy. And that energy, different energy, is controlled by certain people. This particular God is over Christianity. Well, hell, you know it's got to be a God of confusion. Hell, they got damn 12,000 different cults or sects in one so-called order, one so-called religion alone. God, you know what I'm saying? So now the deal is, and you can tell that he's mostly in Christianity because they say that everybody else's religion is messed up. You see what I'm saying? So now the key is this. Adalabroth, and it's interesting because when they dug up these scriptures and they translate them, they found out that Adalabroth was the God that created the world. So when we talk about creation of this world, based on the Gnostic scripts, this world was created by an evil demon who is the devil. So your Genesis starts off with God creating this world and creating Adam and Eve. You see what I'm saying? The key is this particular God that sets over these particular religions. In 1945, when they dug up, I got some right here. You can take them back. When they dug up the Gnostic scripts, the boy not only found the original teachings on where The original teachings go back to Egypt. We know it is all over the world. But the ones that was copied of the first 4 Gospels, he found the original ones, and they was dialectically opposite of everything the first 4 Gospels say. Now, I'm going to get ready to get into the stuff in a few minutes. I'm going to show you what the scriptures say. So, not only did he learn that we found the original Gospels in 1945, we just not learning about this shit. You see what I'm saying? Not only did he learn that, he understood that the God that every black person in America worship, basically the masses of the people is in Christianity, is in fact the devil. And not only that, the devil is on the man's side. Or let's put it away, the God of Christianity is on the man's side. I'll explain it. Now, we ain't talking about no... See, you got to understand this, what I'm talking about now. We're so late into the future. This ain't about no occult shit where you go in and a motherfucker come up and tell you a whole bunch of shit that you can't document. See, we got to jump on a nigga's ass now. Why? Because now we're talking about the ancient scriptures. So now I don't want you to be scared as thinking this is a whole... Because we got about 500,000 organizations. You understand what I'm saying? Saying things, and when you ask them where you get it from, they can't tell you shit. You understand what I'm saying? You see. But now...